Hello, welcome to RecChat, the online space that allows students and professionals to chat about all things collegiate recreation. My name is Earl Cabellin, and I'm coming to you live from the University of Maryland, College Park, where actually it is close to 70 degrees here. So good news for all of you NIRSA folks who are coming here next week or next 2 weeks. Today joining us, we have our RecChat team, and I'll allow them to introduce themselves right now. So take it away, Rochelle.
Hi, my name is Rochelle Harvey, and I am the Aquatics and Youth Programs Coordinator at Western Washington University, which is pretty much Canada, but not quite.
All right, Max.
All right, my name is Max Miller. I am coming to you from Swarthmore College on the outskirts of Philadelphia. I'm the Assistant Director of Athletics for Recreation and Wellness. Hey, Zach, introduce yourself.
Hey guys, my name is Zach Watson. I'm the Coordinator of Intramural Sports and Special Events at the University of New Hampshire, which is also basically Canada.
Thanks, everyone. So today's show is all about the 2017 NIRSA Annual Conference and Recreational Sports Exposition. But before we get into it, we have a couple of announcements. So the first announcement is that our next RecChat is on March 15th, and we'll be doing a Google Hangout regarding NIRSA 301. So we're going to talk a little bit about how to get involved within the association and how to apply for those positions. So you want to tune in for that. April 19th is our other RecChat, and we'll be chatting about the NIRSA Professional Registry and some of the benefits of that program, so you don't want to miss that. Thank you so much to our folks at NIRSA headquarters for promoting and marketing today's RecChat. We always appreciate the love. And finally, if you want to be a part of the show, we'll be tweeting live via Twitter, and if you follow the hashtag RecChat, you can go ahead and answer or provide a question to us, and we'll try to get to it throughout the show. So without further ado, let's get into some conversations about the NIRSA Annual Conference. So my first question to you, Zach, what is the annual conference, and in your own words?
Sure. So the NIRSA Annual Conference is a gathering of over 3,000 campus rec professionals that all get together for 3 or 4 days, and usually in some kind of city, that are getting together to learn more about the profession, to grow, sit through some sessions, and hopefully learn about what some other schools are doing, share what they're doing with other schools that may want to implement their practices, and lastly, network and talk to others in some social settings. So there's something for everybody. So in whatever field that you're in within campus recreation, whether it be intramural, sport clubs, facilities, aquatics, group exercise, you name it, there is something for you. There are sessions that are going to be tailored for you, and there's going to be something that you can learn from and take away from this conference to take back to your school. Another huge portion of this is networking. I know a lot of people, after they go to NIRSA for a few years, they really call it like a family reunion. There's a real family atmosphere and family vibe that you're able to go up to talk to anybody, even people you don't know. Ask them questions. You'll see a lot of the bigwigs that are up on stage talking to different people and giving speeches, and afterwards you'll see them out at an event, and you can just talk to them for 10 or 15 minutes about how they got to that position and what they do in general. So overall, it's an awesome thing. It's an awesome thing to be a part of and to be at. There's so much you can take away, and we're going to dive into that for the rest of the show. So we're going to go over to Rochelle now for the next question.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Zach. And as Zach mentioned, there is a lot of opportunities for networking. So Max, would you please be able to go into some tips and tricks as to how to best network during the annual conference?
Yeah, Rochelle, sure thing. My first piece of advice would be sticking your hand out to anybody at the conference saying, hi, my name is Max Miller. I work at Swarthmore College. What do you do? That's just a great way to sort of introduce yourself to various people at the conference, and then also to make connections throughout the country that could really help you land that awesome job, or just make friends, or just to share ideas. You can network at various sessions, sit down next to somebody new. You can go to take a student to lunch if you're a an undergraduate or graduate student, I found that was a great way to network, but also hanging out in the exposition or the COC. Both are great opportunities to network during the conference.
Hey, Rochelle, could I add a little bit something to that question?
Absolutely, Earl.
All right, so just to go off of and piggyback off what Max said, I think those are all great things. Some other things that you may want to consider, especially if you are a new professional or a new student, look at creating your schedule and put it on your calendars of what sessions you want to go to and all that stuff. Connect with people on social media. I think that's a good trick to help kind of break the ice if you see someone like Scott Flickinger, who's really on social media a lot, and you might want to follow him, and maybe you might see him at the conference wearing a pretty cool hat. Scott's good people, so don't be afraid to just follow folks on social media, those who are engaged in dialogue on the online community. And then my final piece of advice, as you kind of prepare and have a little bit of preparation, is to work on that elevator pitch or the elevator speech, that when you meet someone, kind of what your talking points are when you introduce yourself. And so those are just 2 or 3 things that I wanted to share with this group. So
Awesome. Thanks so much, Earl. We're going to go ahead and head on over to Max with the next question.
Yeah, hey, how's it going? Let's see. So I'm going to ask Earl, how can attending the Recreation and Sports Exposition benefit attendees and their schools?
Max, that is a great question. And so a couple of things to kind of point out about the expo. It is a ginormous trade show. And if you can just imagine being in a large room with, different vendors, everything ranging from weight and fitness equipment to sporting goods, to technology programs, everything within collegiate recreation is in that expo hall. So I think it would benefit everyone who's going to just walk through and kind of interact with the vendors. There's a lot of good information that you could take back to your school. So if you're a student and you see, kind of an innovative program, or if you see something that your program can benefit from, you can get that information and bring it to the powers to be within your department. So I would definitely encourage you to do that. During the expo hall, you'll notice on the schedule too that there's sometimes some free food and snacks, so you might want to check that out. Another benefit to the expo hall, you can check that out. But essentially, it would be a very, very good experience for everyone to kind of walk through and get to see what's in the expo hall, so you kind of know what's trending. So.
Great, thanks, Earl. Now over to, I guess, back to you to, nope, sorry, over to Zach to ask about our next question.
All right, this question is going to Rochelle. Rochelle, what types of sessions should attendees expect to find when they open that conference program?
So there is anything and everything you could possibly imagine. They're all within the NIRSA core values and strategic vision. So it's really cool because you can go to student development stuff. You can go to programming specific to your areas. There are a lot of fitness specific things. There are a lot of wellness sessions. There are a lot of leadership sessions, which are personally my favorite. And there are also a lot of management type sessions. So there are basically a session for everybody. There are also a lot of free workouts, which are really cool to go to and to meet a lot of new people. Basically anything and everything you could possibly imagine. Super cool. Thanks so much. We're going to head on over to Earl now.
Great. So I'm going to ask Max this question as someone who's probably have gone through the Career Opportunity Center before in his career. So Max, can you just tell the audience a little bit about what the Career Opportunity Center is and what folks can expect to see there?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Career Opportunity Center, or as I would like to call my second home at some NIRSA conferences, is a great place where you can, like I was talking about earlier, network with people. You can also find it as a great way to review your resume, drop it off for other people to review your resume. What else? You can, it's a perfect, applying for jobs, applying for graduate assistantships. That's what you're going to do there. There's a box for applicants and a box for schools. So let's say I'll just talk about a little bit of my experience going there as somebody who's looking for a job. So I would write on these nifty communication papers a way for it's a way to communicate with somebody who you're applying for a job, where you're applying for a job. So you would drop this little note, your resume, a cover letter, write it to the person who you're looking to talk to, say, hey, I'm interested in a job at whatever school. I'm available these days. Here's my cell phone number. I'm really interested in this opportunity, and I look forward to meeting with you soon. Hopefully from there, they'll check the box for their school, get in touch with you either by shooting you a text message or an email, or they'll write back to you on the flip side of that note, drop it in your box. So I would suggest that if you are looking for a graduate assistantship or an internship or a job, to continuously check your box. But first thing you need to do, you need to open that box. You need to go to the COC, open that box, and then make sure that you keep checking it. You can also just really go there for a place to relax, check your email, get a little break, get some water, grab a paper clip, grab a pencil, grab a pen. Yeah, I'd say that is probably the COC in a very large nutshell.
Great, thanks, Max. Just a couple things to add to the COC. There will be shorter presentations going on at the COC. I know I will be presenting at 3:30 on Thursday on some career tips. And so, you want to make sure you check out the program. And for those of you who are applying for grad assistantships or professional positions, and you want to get that quick, snippet of information about the Career Opportunity Center, or just, during your search, you can go to those sessions. They're quick 30-minute sessions in the COC. So be on the lookout for that. The next question is from Zach. So Zach, take it away.
All right, and this question is also going over to Rochelle. Rochelle, if I would like to volunteer at the NIRSA conference, what are some opportunities that I would have?
All right, so there are plenty of opportunities. I have participated in most of these, so I am a big proponent for volunteering. They include working the welcome table. So you are able to meet people as they come in. You're able to give them their welcome packets and really put a face to the name. Maybe you've been emailing back and forth with people the whole year. It's a really great opportunity to meet folks. Another really easy way to meet people and attend sessions is sign up to be a session monitor. So you're able to attend sessions, meet the presenters, and really get to know people that are very knowledgeable about their content area. Another really great place to meet people and volunteer is the COC. If you're a professional staff member, you can volunteer to look over resumes, do mock interviews, work the welcome table and the registration table. As a student, there are also opportunities to volunteer within the COC. This year, there's also going to be a table for ribbons. So after you get your welcome packet, you'll be sent over to the ribbon table. So if you're there February 20th, which is that Monday from 6 to 9, I'll be at the ribbon table. Come say hi. I'll give you your ribbons. There are also many opportunities to volunteer at the expo. I know there's a lot of basketball games and all sorts of stuff going on, and they're looking for a lot of different volunteers at that time. So if you are interested in volunteering, which I strongly recommend you do, you can go over to NIRSA.net, go over to NIRSA 2017, and then there's a welcome volunteer webpage that has all of the information, and they have an online sign-up system, which is super easy to use and very user-friendly. All right, thanks so much, and we're going to head back to Max.
Hey, how's it going? Just checking in with Twitter, giving the people, letting people's voices be heard over the airwaves. We want to shout out Flick for letting us know that people should also check out info sessions about NIRSA programs, such as the NIRSA Championship Series session that'll be going on, I believe, in the morning on one of the days during the conference. So here we go. We're gonna ask you, Rochelle, as an undergrad looking for a graduate assistant position, what items should students make sure to bring to the conference?
So you should make sure to bring resumes on nice paper if you're able to. You should bring colored clips, paper clips, because they stand out. I know Max loves that trick. You should also bring business cards. You should be handing your business cards out to anybody and everybody. Even if you print off cards or go to Vistaprint, I know that there are lots of places that will give you like 200 free business cards just for signing up. So you need to make sure that people are able to find you and remember you. You also need to bring your most authentic self. When you're talking to people and when you're meeting people, you want to be who you are, and you don't want to portray what you think people want, because especially if you're looking for a graduate assistantship or if you're looking for your first professional staff job, people are going to hire you based on how well they think you're going to fit into their team, not off of the image that you are portraying, which will not be good if it's not authentic. So make sure you are your authentic self. Yeah, and also you just need to make sure that you bring the ability to just relax and have fun and enjoy the process, because it can be overwhelming, but everybody's kind of in the same boat and we're all a really good group of people. So thanks so much, and I am sending it back to Zach.
All right, so this question is going to Earl. And Earl, as a graduate assistant who's looking for a professional position, should students expect to interview at the conference?
Zach, I think that's a great question. I would agree everything that Rochelle said about bringing your authentic self, first off, so great insight, Rochelle. So as a grad assistant looking for, professional position, it all depends. I think, some schools will meet with folks at the conference, but usually if you're a GA or a professional looking for a professional position, a lot of times schools have rules that you can't have formal interviews at the conference. I know for us at the University of Maryland, it's that way, but we will have certain informational sessions where we'll kind of advertise our position and talk about, the culture of our department, the institution, and be able to answer folks' questions about the position that we have. So, if you're a GA or a professional and you see a professional position kind of pop up on Bluefish, be prepared to chat with folks. I'm sure a lot of them will be accepting resumes, but again, the other thing with institutions now with professional positions is that you have to submit resumes online via their HR website. And so you should have paper copies just in case, but remember that eventually you may have to submit your formal application via the institution's website. So yeah, I mean, again, you could be interviewing there at the conference for a professional position, but probably bank on going to more info sessions. And to anyone on the RecChat team, I don't know if that's more accurate because I haven't job searched in a while, but so if I'm out of line, let me know.
Well, and I can definitely
chime in here. Wow, I think all of us probably just want to chime in a little bit. I'm gonna take the lead and talk first, and then I'll hand it off to Zach and then Rochelle. I would say truly, if you're applying for a job or interested in making a career change, be ready at any point for an interview. Just having a quick chat with somebody during the day, that could be your real first step in the door to get that interview. They could get off the phone they could end the conversation with you, hop on the cell phone, call up their HR department and say, hey, Rochelle Harvey just chatted me up about this position that she's really interested in. Can you check her application, see if she meets all the credentials, and make sure it comes across my desk when I come back to campus? Like we've all been talking about, show your authentic self, make sure you're smiling, make sure you're having a good attitude and ready to talk to somebody at any time, because it could seriously benefit you for the rest of your life. Now on to Zach.
So I would agree with Earl that for the most part, you're not doing formal interviews at the conference. So there might be a few things here and there that if you've applied and maybe they want to do their first round interview instead of doing it over Skype or on the phone, they want to do it at the conference and then they'll transition on campus. That can happen, but for the most part, when I was applying for jobs, people just wanted to meet you. So it'd be more of a, hey, let's meet up during the conference. And it could be more of an informal thing. And then you just kind of find a time and chat with them for 10 or 15 minutes, ask them some questions. They'll ask you some questions, but nothing like serious, like a real interview style questionnaire. But those little 10 to 15 minute conversations, people want to work with people that they get along with. So those go a long way to figuring out, oh, can I get along with this person? Can I work with this person for 40 hours or more every single week? So even those little informal conversations are huge. So we'll go over to Rochelle now.
Awesome. And it's important to do your homework and know who is going to be at the conference if you're able to tell and see who's going to be there. For me, when I was a second year GA, I went to ERSL and I had just applied for a position at my first pro job, and I saw the director, J-Shell Fan Club Forever. I saw her, and like the first day, and I knew that was who it was because I had looked on the website and done all of my research. And I waited about a day and a half until there was an appropriate time to go talk to her and introduce myself. And then she made the call to HR and they pulled my application, and that really helped kickstart my process with that university. So I don't know a whole lot about formal stuff, but the informal interviews are really, really what will get you your first position. Because I think Stan Shingles always says it's not what you know or who you know, but who knows you. All right, thanks so much. And we're going to head back to Earl.
Thank you, Rochelle. I just want to give a shout out to one of my favorite folks that I like to follow on social media, Mr. David Bowles from the University of Florida. And he just tweeted out that if you have any interest in the next step in your career, bring resumes and dress/act professional. And so that's some really, really good advice from one of our leading professionals in the career, in the field. So thank you, David. Our next question, I'll punt to Zach. Now that the conference, comes to an end and you're on like that Friday, it's the honor award banquet, and you're going back home on that Saturday, and the conference is over. What are just some things that attendees should look to do or possibly do when they get back to their institution? So take it away, Zach.
Sure, great question. Just because the conference ended doesn't mean we have to stop thinking about it right when we get back home, right? I know there's a lot of temptation to just jump right back into our work, into everyday life and catching up on all of our emails and all that good stuff, but don't forget what happened during the conference. It helps for a lot of people to write things down, write about their overall experience. I know when we send students to the conference, we'll make sure that they write a reflection paper of just not only about what sessions they went to, but overall their thoughts on the conference, who they met, what kind of connections they made. Did they go to the expo? What did they think was cool there? Any ideas that they had? All this is written down just to have them think about their experience as a whole, and hopefully then we can have them talk to others about it and that are also interested in going. If you met somebody cool at the conference, and every time I go to the conference, I meet at least 5 cool people that I haven't met before. So if you meet somebody, you get their contact information, or even if you just get their name, look them up and send them a quick email just saying, hey, it was great to meet you. I love talking about blank. Hope we can stay in touch. That way, if you have any ideas in the future or just want someone to bounce stuff off of, or maybe you're creating a new program that they already created, they can be a huge help with that. Or even if you're applying for your next job, they'll remember that conversation. And if you made a impact on them, that could be helpful in applying for that next job. Sometimes, there'll be a presentation to your staff or your department. So if you have brought back a cool idea and you're like, this will be a cool department-wide training initiative that we can do, it would help to just present it to people, present what you learned, right? So if you learned something awesome and you want to share with everybody, do so. And if everybody else likes it, it'd be something cool to put in and to make your department better. That's absolutely what you should do. And lastly, I feel like too many times we go to sessions and we get fired up in NIRSA and we're like, all right, that is cool, and I'm going to do that starting next year. And then next year rolls around and we completely forget about it, right? I think it happens to all of us. But actually start putting those ideas into action now when you get back home. If you start getting the ball rolling on that and let others know of your ideas, you're less likely to just forget about them and not implement them the next year, whenever you want to implement them. So get the ball rolling on that. So just because the conference ends doesn't mean that thinking about it and the stuff that you learned ends, right? It always is moving at all times.
Great advice. Yeah, great advice, Zach. I definitely think that those are great things to do when you leave the conference. Rochelle or Max, anything else to add that you may think folks should do?
I know something that Zach touched on, but it was something that was really great in grad school when we were sent to the conference from Texas State. Was our director had us come back and truly talk in the staff meeting about what we learned, about who we met, and about why the conference was beneficial. It was great. It was a great opportunity, great way to just sort of compose your thoughts about the conference in your head and then like really interpret them and put them into action. I think it's a great way to really take a step back, process what you just went through over the conference in that week, and then put it into action. So that's my 2 cents on it. I think Rochelle has a little bit to say.
And going off of those, I would also say kind of look at your original and overall vision and goals and figure out how the stuff that you learned fits into those goals and how it kind of helps with your vision and what you are looking to create. So usually I will have like my quarterly goals with me, and then I'll have my yearly goals. And as I start learning things at the conferences, I start kind of bracketing things off into the goals. And so, or maybe I discover after all of the things that I've learned that I need to change my goals. So it helps a lot with creating your culture and creating the program that you're looking to create by utilizing the information that you have. I always type up all of my notes. That's my biggest thing is I handwrite everything and then I type everything up, and I make sure to go back and read it every 6 months or so to make sure that I'm still using it.
Rochelle is not bragging about that stuff. She actually does write everything down and then type it up. And I've even asked her to send me some of her typed up notes before because I like forgot something in a session, or she was going to a session that I wanted to go to and we just couldn't meet. So yeah, it's a great thing, and definitely take that piece of advice. And also for anybody who's watching or following along, reach out to any of us if you want to talk a little more about anything we're saying. Specifically what Rochelle was talking about earlier with the business cards. If you need some tips and tricks about making business cards in a short amount of time, reach out to any of us and we can try and walk you through that as best as possible.
Great. Yeah, thanks, team. All some wise and good advice for folks. So I'm going to punt it right back to Rochelle for the next question. So Rochelle.
Awesome. Let's start with Earl, and then we'll just kind of move through everybody because this is a pretty loaded question. What are your, let's say, top 2 must-do activities for conference attendees?
Well, I think for me, I'm a big fan of the member network meeting. And I'm not just saying that because I'm the outgoing Region 1 representative, but I do think, for those students and professionals out there, the member network meeting is your opportunity to get with your regional folks. A lot of you have recently had conferences or a student lead on, and it's just good to get back with the people in your region and know what's going on. And the purpose of the member network meeting is for us, the members, to celebrate the achievements, the awards. Every member network meeting will have the Regional Award of Merit, which is the highest level of honor. And so that is probably one of my top 2 things that you should go to. And then I think for students, probably take a student to lunch because you get a free lunch. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good opportunity for you to network with another professional who is not at your institution, does not know your story, and you can really walk away with a mentor for life. And so knowing that there's a lot of professionals out there who want to connect with students, definitely after the student connection meeting, the student leadership team will pair everyone off with a professional, and they'll be able to take you out to lunch. And being on the host committee, there's a lot of places to go for lunch. So this Gaylord property has, quite a few restaurants. All the restaurants know that we're going to be going out to lunch a lot during that day. So, definitely take advantage of that. So those are my 2 things.
I'll go ahead and go next. And to echo what Earl said, take a student lunch is awesome. And even if you're a professional, it's a good way to just meet students that are up and coming. And so I know it's huge for students, obviously, but if you're a professional, don't skip that one either. Make sure you go to that as well. My top 2 things, I would say my first one, especially for students, I'm going to try to go student focused on this, is the NIRSA Student Lounge. So the Student Lounge started a couple of years ago, and it's a place for students to come and just kind of relax a little bit. There's like sofas and there's usually some cool things going on, but not only are you able to relax a little bit, but you're able to network with people. So I know the student leadership team always does a good job of at least one of them always being there, so you can talk to them about it and kind of pick their brain. And there's always professionals around there too. So talk to them, meet them. They usually have some cool swag to give away, and some other interactive things going on. So definitely stop by there first day and look at their schedule events they have going on, because they'll have everything planned out. Stop by there, figure out what's going on, and then if you ever need like 5 minutes in between a session to like sit somewhere and just be like, all right, let me just decompress for a second, it's a good area to go, and you can have some casual conversations with people. The other one would be for students is a student member connection meeting. This presentation is usually packed. There's usually so many students that go to this, but you get to hear directly from the students. So it's a presentation for students by students. The student leadership team puts it on, and they're able to go over what they did throughout the year, how that directly impacts all the students that are in the room, and they give away some awards and do some other fun things as well. So definitely there's always some networking going on there too. You can talk to people that you haven't met before. So for students, those 2 things are absolutely huge.
All right, I'll chime in with my 2 favorite things or 2 points about must-dos. I would say for first-time attendees, go to the sort of, I guess it's basically a session or like an info session about what we're just talking about right here. Hear about the must-dos at the conference from other NIRSA members. Learn how to make the most of your conference experience. Browse around the expo. Grab free shirts from anybody. Shake hands. Talk to people. Meet people. And lastly, like I said before with networking, talk to a professional. Find somebody who's maybe 10 years down the road, you want to be them or be in their position. Go up to them, introduce yourself, say, hey, my name is Max Miller. I want your job in 10 years. Can you help me get there? I think that's a great way to do it. Talking it to as many people as possible and talking to professionals. I guess we're out there. We have some experience in the field. We know how we've gotten to our place, and really, if you're an undergrad or a grad student, talk to any of us. We're willing to help because people have helped us out before. Yeah, that's my 2 cents about my opinion on must-dos at the conference.
And Rochelle, if I could just add one more plug for our friends at the NIRSA Foundation. If you want to participate in a phenomenal event for a phenomenal NIRSA member, the Mark Fletcher Polar Bear Plunge will be happening on Friday morning of the conference. And so what a great opportunity to raise some money for foundation scholarships on Friday morning. And so we typically do a fun run, but we decided to switch it up this year, and we'll be doing a polar bear plunge on Friday. So definitely check that out or consider donating to that event. So thanks, Rochelle.
Awesome. And my last little bit on that is the NIRSA Student Lounge is super cool because they do a lot of like Instagram challenges, which I'm all about the Insta, and that stuff's super fun. So they are on Twitter and Instagram at NIRSA Students. So make sure you follow them, and they will be posting updates for that. It's a super cool way to kind of be involved and earn swag. So, all right, thanks so much, and we are throwing it back to Max.
Thanks, Rochelle. Next question. This is going to my man in the dress shirt right now. Hey, Zach, what are your best practices for attire at a NIRSA conference? I mean, if you run out of ideas, feel free to shoot it over to Earl. We know he's always looking good, and then you can just chime in with me and Rochelle if we really think you missed anything.
Absolutely. So my mantra is always look good, feel good, right? If you walk into somewhere and you are overdressed, nobody's ever going to look at you and be like, man, that person's unprepared. Look how overdressed they are. That's never going to happen, right? So it's okay. Look as professional as you can. Now, I'm not saying you have to wear a suit and tie every day, but take pride in your appearance. If you have, I'll mostly be in a button-down shirt. Sometimes a school polo and then slacks or khakis. But just make sure that you're looking professional. If you look professional and you look good, others will want to speak to you and take you a little more seriously. Remember that you're always networking, right? And that includes not only what you say and how you act, but what you're wearing. So if you come off as professional, and that includes your whole first appearance and your whole persona, that's going to be something that's huge when you're applying for a job at that school later on in life. So it's definitely big to always dress well, always be looking sharp, and hopefully people will take notice, right? So do Rochelle or Earl have any thoughts?
Yeah, I think one of my mentors, told me that you always want to dress the part for your next job, and that's always resonated with me, especially at like conferences. And so for you students out there, I would definitely heed what Zach was talking about. Look good, feel good. But you just want to present yourself the best possible way that you feel comfortable. And so everything from fellas, making sure your shirts are ironed, your tie's tied right. Maybe you've got your suit pressed, went to the dry cleaners, whatever, to make it look nice and neat. You want to be conscious of that. Even like your dress shoes, making sure that those look nice as well. But if you're more of a person where you feel comfortable in a button down and a sports coat, that's fine too. It's all a matter of how you feel and what makes you feel good. And for the ladies, I think Rochelle could probably attest to this. But business type of suits, pants, skirts usually work really well. So yeah, I mean, whatever works for you is pretty much the advice that I've gotten and what Zach just said. So Rochelle, what about you? What do you think?
So the two things I have, I like to call it rec chic. Polos, your school polos, and a pair of khakis. I personally hate khakis, but they are professional and they are the standard within our profession. So if you're not really into button downs, or if you're a student and you were just given a ton of polos, you can always rep your school. I think I see 2 polos right now with Earl and Max. Holla. So they've got it. Easiest way to look professional and also represent your school. The other thing is you really need to be aware of what shoes you're wearing. This is for across the board for everybody. You will be walking huge amounts. You will also be standing huge amounts. So make sure that you are wearing comfortable shoes, regardless if you're male or female. You just need to make sure that you're going to walk around in your shoes, that you're going to stand for long periods of time, and you're not going to cry later. So that's all I have with that. And I always tend to try to be overdressed just because you would rather err on the side of professional than casual. All right, thanks so much. And now I'm throwing it back to Earl.
All right, so we just, kind of fired off a lot of questions. We had a lot of responses from our RecChat team, and kind of wanted to circle back on a couple of things, and I'll let the RecChat team kind of reflect on maybe some of the things we might have missed, and maybe bring to light some of the things that we see on Twitter. So the first thing I kind of wanted to bring up and just remind folks is the high caliber of programs this year at NIRSA. And kudos to Damon Pryor, who chaired the program committee this year. You can view those programs right now on the NIRSA website. Really strong programs, everything from trending topics such as diversity, inclusion, wellness, sustainability, everything from aquatics, intramurals, the full gamut. I feel like this year's conference won't disappoint in terms of the educational sessions. And that's kind of my other reminders that, and I think Stacy Hall, our NIRSA president, said this on Twitter, is that, you want to go to sessions outside of your comfort zone. And so I'll use me for an example. As someone who's in student personnel, HR, student development, it's going to be easy for me to gravitate to those types of presentations. However, I think, if I want to better myself as a professional, I'm going to look at the core competencies that is listed in NIRSA and try to figure out, maybe I'm not getting enough experience within risk management, or maybe I'm not getting too much in assessments. And so I'm going to be a little bit intentional about going to those sessions just so I can kind of build my toolbox. Because when I meet with my supervisor, who has sponsored me to go to this conference, I can tell her, here's what I learned, outside of the scope of my job. And that goes to all of us, not just students, but professionals too, is that we can't be always going to the same sessions that we're always used to. And so I would challenge everyone watching today to really be deliberate. And when you're mapping out your sessions, whether it's, you're on the plane ride to DC, or, if you have a couple days prior to the conference, to look at that schedule and look at the high caliber of programs. There are phenomenal keynote speakers and invited speakers as well. I'll put a plug in for, Terry Bump. If you follow her on Twitter, she is a consultant and someone who's really big in ACPA and NASPA, and she's leading a couple of sessions. One of them is on executive presence. So for all of you mid-managers out there, I would look to go to that. And then I'm going to shout out my bro, Ed Cabellin, who will be back again this year as an invited speaker, and will be presenting on 3 sessions, one on technology and some on navigating higher educational politics. So look at the programs, go on Guidebook, look at the core competencies, and do your best to get to as many sessions as you can. So anyone else want to kind of revisit, recap, share anything that we might have missed?
Sure, I'll go next. So we also had a great suggestion from David Bowles, University of Florida, on Twitter, saying go to any and every social event that you can. And I know it's a long week. I know it's tempting to say, I got to get all this stuff done. I got to do this and I got to do that. I need to stay in tonight. But try to go out and just meet people, as many as you can. The more people that you can meet at this conference, the better. Whether it's, and try to hit, there's usually different things going on. A lot of nights there's multiple social events happening. try to hit as many as possible. Talk to as many different people as you can. Get information, get business cards, make a connection somewhere. Don't just talk to them, about the weather. Make a real connection somewhere, and something that you can follow up on and potentially work with them on later. So those connections, and in our profession of campus recreation, those connections and working together across the country is key. So start building that base now.
And just to piggyback off of that, be memorable. That's my biggest thing. I know all these guys have heard me say that so many times. When you meet somebody, find that connection. There are multiple people that see me and they're like, barbecue, or they're like, you love coffee, or you say bag. Like, there's just so many people that have that one thing, and you might not remember their name, but you'll find them on Facebook, you'll find them on Instagram, you will find them wherever you can to connect with them and continue to have those relationships. I met Zach 5 or 6 years ago, I think, at this point at a conference, and we've gone from being undergrads and grad assistants to now we're still, professional colleagues on committees. So it's really cool that, you're able to meet somebody as an undergrad and progress through your career with somebody because you're memorable and you make those connections. That's my biggest thing. And also, if you are kind of like me, where I'm an extrovert, but I'm also introverted, if you feel like you're getting overwhelmed at any point, just take a minute for yourself, go find a corner, go sit in your hotel room for 15 minutes to just kind of regroup and take a deep breath, and then throw yourself back out into the crazy socialness that is the wonderful NIRSA family.
Thanks, Rochelle. So earlier we were talking about business cards. On the back of a business card is typically a blank space. Use that blank space to write a fun fact about that person that you grabbed the business card from, so you can remember who they are. Or if you have a business card, write a fun fact about yourself on the back of it for that person so they can remember you. It's a great resource and a great opportunity to just sort of put it in your portfolio, padfolio at the end, get back to campus, and then send those people an email, say, it was great to meet you, or find them on Twitter or something like that, and let them know that you appreciate them taking the time to talk with you during the conference. And my last tip is, we're all collegiate recreation professionals. Don't forget to use the recreation opportunities that we have available for us at the conference. If that's the fitness center, or walking around the expo and participating in workouts, or going on a run around National Harbor, take some time for yourself. Make sure that you sort of recharge in the best way possible for you, like Rochelle was talking about. And just like what some of our friends on Twitter were talking about, make sure you get enough sleep. Don't stay out till 4 in the morning if you have an interview 8 in the morning. It's not a good idea. You don't want to get sick. You want to make sure you have a good impression for everybody you're meeting. And if you see me at the conference and you need some food, find me for take a student out to lunch, and I'll take you out to lunch. Small school, small budget, so I'll probably only limit it to 1 or 2. So first come, first serve. But find me in the harbor.
All right. Thanks, Max. I definitely, I'm so glad you talked about, taking care of yourself and being well. And I will echo that sentiment that this conference is all about us using physical activity to be well. And so there's a great workout facility at the Gaylord, and I'm hopeful that this 70-degree weather is going to continue on in the next 2 weeks here at Maryland. I'm gonna pray, but yeah, go out for a run or find some time to be active to be well. And so just remember that. So good advice, Max. Well, those are all questions we have for this afternoon. So I'm just gonna kind of wrap it up. So just a couple, again, reminders that March 15th is our next RecChat Google Hangout. For those of you who are looking to get involved, to maybe aspiring to be a state director, or learn about the professional registry, or to get on a committee within NIRSA, you want to tune into this, because we're going to do a NIRSA 301 session with folks. And then April 19th, we'll be talking about the professional registry. So all the core competencies that I was talking about, we'll be chatting about that on April 19th. And so, again, we just want to say a big thank you to NIRSA HQ. We know that it's a little bit crazy for you down in Corvallis, Oregon, as you all prepare to head out east. And so we really, really appreciate everything that you're doing for us as members. We can't thank you enough. And then, I'm sorry if I miss you on Twitter, but thanks to folks like David Bowles, Scott Flickinger, Stacy Hall, Mark from Canada, my Canadian brother, and everyone else, and Will Trent. Sorry, Will, our NIRSA student leader. Thank you so much for tuning in and for tuning in for those who are watching this after the fact. And so, again, we appreciate you watching today's program, and we look forward to seeing you at National Harbor for the NIRSA conference. Have a great day, everyone, and be well. Thanks.